Oh, this is a little bit R-rated. If you are not serving your cappuccinos with a teaspoon, it means it's not frothy enough. There's not enough chocolate. I've said what I've said. Pregnancy Q&A. I put up a post on my Instagram letting people just ask anything and everything. I know I haven't done my hair. My hair's naturally very curly, so this was straight yesterday. Let's just get into it. A bit of context, I am 21 weeks pregnant. It's been a journey. New pregnancy was hard. I never underestimated what women go through when it comes to pregnancy, but until you actually go through it, you don't understand. And even if you go through pregnancy, no two women's bodies are the same. No two pregnancies are the same. Such a very individual and personal experience. I've got two older sisters, and obviously my mum was pregnant, and each of the four of us have gone through pregnancy so differently. It's like HG. When it comes to HG, not every woman will experience it in the same way. So it's just, again, a very individual, different experience for everyone. But I will say, unless you experience HG, you can't even fathom. For women who have HG and then additionally end up with a whole bunch of other things. There's this one gorgeous lady on my TikTok. She was telling me that she was diagnosed with HG, but not only that, she's also ended up in a wheelchair because she's developed some kind of arthritis with her pregnancy, and she's got kids to look after. So it's not like this is her first baby, and I still haven't gotten over that. All I can say is women are incredible. Again, not everyone's going to understand what you're going through because not everyone went through the same kind of thing as you. Of women that have suffered with HG who have been called whingers, or they're just complaining, or they're just milking it. No, like it's not fun. I think first trimester for any and every woman, first trimester, it should be optional to not have to work. Can I just say, even when talking about your experience, if you say anything negative, there are some people out there, and by some people I mean the mum shamers, there's always that one person that wants to attack you for saying it how it is. It's okay to say ow when you're in pain, and you should not be shamed for that. At the end of the day, if you are suffering every day with how you're feeling and you're unable to function like normal, that is going to affect you not only physically but mentally. And the fact that you can't even then speak about it, imagine how that's going to affect you mentally even more so. Let's answer these questions. I'm going to stop talking now. Well, no, I'm going to start talking, but about what we're all here for. Okay. Was it planned or was it a surprise? Okay, I hate this question. I'm going to tell you why I hate this question. But I also like this question. It's a double-edged sword, as they say. This is my first YouTube video, so I'm going to give a bit of context here. Because we haven't had kids, or we hadn't fallen pregnant or spoken about children or anything like that to other people, and we've been married for now almost 5 years, people have this automatic assumption that we can't have kids or we're struggling with fertility, etc. It's really funny having to explain to people that actually we just really like each other's company. This is my personal opinion and Pat's personal opinion now. Our opinion is when you get married, you need time for yourselves before kids. Why? You need to build a foundation for yourselves. Boyfriend, girlfriend, and fiancés is not a foundation. You, as a married couple, that's an extremely different level to anything else. When Pat and I got married, I was 20, Pat was 24. Very young ages to be married. Let's talk about financial stability. I did not come from a wealthy background whatsoever. I was just working 24/7 to make ends meet. I was still in uni, so I was working full-time, I was studying full-time. I hadn't developed a real career yet because I was just trying to cover my bills. Patrick, while he had a more comfortable upbringing, he didn't have to work. So he went through uni, But to be fair, it's not that he was doing it because he was lazy. He actually aced uni. When I say aced uni, like he was on the Dean's Merit list every single year, and I've got his transcript, HDs. Except for managing people and organizations, which I like to always bring up because I got higher than him on that one, and I'm really proud of that. We did buy a house before we got married. I had to make a lot of sacrifices in buying this house, and by that I mean where we bought, you know, how small the place was. Anyway, being in that financial position, we weren't in a position to be having kids, in my opinion. I knew that I wanted to give my kids a more comfortable life than what I had. Number two, I hadn't finished my uni degree. I hadn't established any kind of career at this stage because I was still finishing my degree. I was trying to make ends meet, and I wasn't prepared to give all of that up to have kids immediately. That's not what I wanted. I wanted to make some kind of career or name for myself and establish something for myself, at least some kind of resume, knowing that when I have kids, I want to stop working for a certain amount of time, knowing that if I have to get back into the workforce for someone else, not for myself, I've got something established that I can refer to and go back to, you know, worst case scenario. 3, we wanted to build a strong foundation for our marriage. And by that I mean spending time together, learning about each other, living together, traveling. That was a big thing. Travel. We'll make a whole separate video on that. But if you can travel together before kids, I recommend it so much. I recommend it so much. A lot of people thought that we were infertile and they were all cover-up reasons. They were not. We definitely were not trying for as long as I could remember. Anyway, we weren't going to start trying until 2025. End of 2024 came. Pat was a little bit worried. I was a little bit worried because I've got polycystic ovaries and I've got most likely endometriosis. They don't diagnose you 100% until you do that keyhole surgery. I had professionals tell me, don't be surprised if it takes you a year to fall pregnant. We were thinking in 2025 we'll fall pregnant, but then we started panicking like, okay, what if it takes us a year or 2 years and we're not going to be pregnant till 2026, 2027, and by the time the baby comes, then we want to have another one. We were like, you know what, let's just let loose now. If it doesn't happen, like it's the end of the year, there's not much difference. If it doesn't happen now, it's fine. Who cares? We're just having fun. We're being our usual selves, right? But we're just not being as cautious. And yeah, first go. I was really shocked. Let's say it takes us 6 months. It gives me 6 months to, you know, start reading up on these things and, you know, but no, it was first go. We don't know exactly when, because as I said, we were just being our usual selves. So we don't know exactly when. I've had people ask me like, do you remember the moment, like the time? And I was like, no, because it was, you know, could have been any time. I mean, you know, we ovulate for like a week, all right? So it could have been at any point during that week. So planned or surprised? Let's say a mix of both. Okay, so this question is relative to the question that was just asked, question that we've been getting in person. The question is, how long were you trying for the baby? How easy/hard was it to fall pregnant? So how long we weren't, like it was the first go. The reason why I get uncomfortable with this question is because I know, and you would be an idiot to not know, that people suffer with infertility, whether it's the man or the woman, doesn't matter. And it's a tough thing to have to go through. I can't even speak to it 100% because I haven't had to go through it myself. I have had that fear in me instilled by medical professionals because, again, the polycystic ovaries and the endometriosis, I was constantly warned. But then to have to actually go through it, to have to go through IVF, to have to go through miscarriage and loss and hope and, you know, losing hope and all of that, you'd have to be an idiot to be ignorant to those kinds of things and people's feelings. So that's why I get uncomfortable when that question gets asked, because again, a lot of people assume that we probably were trying for a long time because we'd been married for so long. So it makes me uncomfortable because I don't ever want to upset anybody. At the same time, I like to share my answer because I like to give reassurance to women that are scared to get into a relationship or are scared to start that fertility journey because they think that they don't have a hope just because they've been diagnosed with something. I think that that's really important, is that we don't just share the doom and gloom, but we also share the hope and the happy side of it. Give us your baby shopping list. I'm due in September and I have no idea what I'm doing. Girl, same. If there's someone that doesn't know what they're doing, it's me. No idea. Okay. I have never been the person to actually think about falling pregnant or think about having kids. And at a certain stage of my life, I actually don't want kids. I feel like my maternal instinct is hiding somewhere. I did a video on this on our TikTok. We went to the Baby Expo in Sydney. Overwhelming, but to a really good eye-opener. The reason why I wanted to go was basically just to get a feel of the kinds of things that we're going to need, the kinds of things that we should be looking at. And it's great because you've got all the, not all, but a lot of the brands out there so that you can easily compare. You're right there, you can see the products. So we did end up buying a pram, and I'll go into the pram a little bit in a separate video because we're going to unbox it and stuff. Paid for the pram. It wasn't like a gift or anything. We weren't contacted about it. This was genuinely the pram, the only pram that I wanted. I will put a baby shopping list together. I have looked at a couple items here and there. So I've got the pram. I bought a cot. I actually bought the cot the day after finding out I was pregnant. It was Black Friday, so I'm like, oh, maybe I should look at baby stuff. And the only thing I knew to buy for a baby was a cot. I had no idea what else you're supposed to buy a baby. Looking at some Nuna stuff. We do have Nuna stuff coming. That's going to be really exciting because I was obsessed with a few of their items. There's a smart bassinet. So it's not the bouncer. It's the bassinet where they can actually lay, and it's legally, you know, safe and all for the baby to be laying in a smart bassinet. So I've got that on my list. Haven't bought it yet. I went into Baby Bunting. Oh, okay. This made me feel a little bit funny because I don't know if this is supposed to be the experience. I'm not sure. I've been into Baby Bunting 2 times now. First time I went in, no one spoke to me, no one addressed me. You know, I'm ready to put like a whole list together from Baby Bunting, bring Pat in the next day to buy everything. I went in and no one spoke to me, no one helped me, no one asked what I was up to, what I needed, anything like that. So I thought that that was a bit strange. And then there was a lady next to me that walked in with her partner, and they walked straight up to her and they started speaking to her and serving her and la la la. And I was like, and I was standing right next to her, and I knew that they saw me. We'd made eye contact, and I smiled. It's not like I was a bitch or anything. So that made me feel really weird. And then the second time I went in, again, no one addressed me, no one helped me, nothing. So then I went up to the staff and I said, hey, can I grab a hand, please? And they were like, sure, what can I help you with? And I said, this is my first time being a mum, and I basically need to buy everything. Is there a way that I could get some help? Like, can I put a list together? And they were like, oh, you mean for a baby shower? I said, no, I'm not having a baby shower. I basically want to put a list together to just come in and buy it all. Like, I just want to put that list together, get the final figure, and then come in the next day and buy everything. And they were like, yeah, no, so unless you're doing a gift registry. And I said, oh, okay, but so how would I go about making my list? And they were like, you just have to take photos of what you want. And then, yeah. I was like, okay, thank you. They have these booklets at the front of the store, set things that you should consider buying when having a baby, which is definitely helpful. But there was no, like in the movies, I see, you know, you've got the little scanner thing and then you scan to make a list. And I asked about that and they were like, no, but that's a good idea. And then no one helped. Like, I said that I was a first time mum and no one really said, okay, like, have you started looking at what you're after? What, is there anything that you're confused about that we can guide you with? Yeah, I don't know. I didn't really like my experience there. They haven't, you know, done anything wrong, but I just thought that there would be a lot more sales help when it comes to that thing. I think that that's a very easy way for a business to make money. like that's how I've worked in sales before. That's just how I see it, is you've got someone that's come in that has said that they're a first-time mum, has said that they're clueless, and has said that they're ready to drop a bunch of bands to buy everything. But no one's willing to help them. And also when I looked at their stuff, I looked around, I just felt like they didn't have much variety. I don't know if that was just because it was in store. I haven't looked at their website. So I am thinking of going elsewhere. So somewhere other than Baby Bunting, like Baby Kingdom or whatever. I haven't checked it out yet. Let me know where you guys are going, what everyone else's experience was like, and how you guys came up with your lists, and where you guys went for that big shop of all those essentials. I will share my list once I put it together. Have you thought about your birth plan? What are some strategies you will use? This is a good question to spark my anxiety, that's for sure. I didn't even know what a birth plan was until like a week ago. People that go in with, you know, like folders, like printouts to give to everybody to say, this is what I want. I didn't know. I haven't even figured out what kind of birth I want to have. Okay, I'm going to be so totally honest here. I, at the start, was like, I'm having a planned C-section, an elective C-section. I don't want to give birth naturally. I don't want to. I don't want to do it. I know a lot of women that have done planned C-sections and they totally recommend it. But then I've also had women that have had done C-sections and they say that the recovery was just too tough. I don't know what kind of birth I even want to have. I do know that if I want to give birth naturally, not through C-section, dope me up on that epidural and don't stop. Do you know what I mean? I don't want to feel the pain. I'm not interested. You don't get an award for giving birth without the epidural and without anything and la la la. I'm not interested in feeling pain, and I'm not interested in having a traumatic experience, because I would like to have another child and I don't want to be going into that scared. I'm already going into this scared because it's the unknown, but I don't want to be going into it scared because I know how much it's going to hurt. Do you know what I mean? Then you've got water birth, and then you've got, do you do it laying down, standing up? Birth plan is like, you're going to have low lights and music and who's going to be in the room and all of it. I don't know. But I was panicked about it the other night. There are a lot of people that do it naturally. There are people that do it with doulas as well. There's so many ways of going about it these days, and I just don't know not only what's best, but what I want. Because, I mean, what's best is very subjective. My birth plan is, 1, put together a birth plan. 2, figure out a way to experience the least possible amount of pain. Don't get me wrong, my sister has had 5 kids, all natural or without epidural. Props to her, and props to any other woman that's done that. But it's just not what I want. And I don't believe that doing it any other way makes you less of a woman. Like, don't fall into that crap. Don't listen to people that want to belittle you for any kind of way that you want to go about it. You do whatever is best for you and baby. And this is a little bit R-rated. Oh my god. How'd you get pregnant? Did you do the Arab legs up thing, or what did you do before? What's the legs up thing? I've never heard of the legs. I'm going to call my mum after and ask her. I don't know what the legs up thing is. I know some people think that there's a certain diet to follow or whatever, or certain positions to use. Some people even believe that the position that you use determines the gender of the baby, and I'm like, that can't be real. There's no way. I don't even remember when, and I don't even know when we fell pregnant. It was just a lot of fun. That's how we fell pregnant, just not worrying about it and being ourselves and just being our normal selves. Is the pregnancy harder in the last few months? So I'm currently at 5 months, and what's hard is the pain. Sciatica, around ligament pain. I've got an abdominal tear. I've had that abdominal tear for a while now. The shooting pain that you get all over, the migraines. And again, some women don't experience a lot of these symptoms, like heartburn, I have severe heartburn. I can't have can't go near anything chili, although I love chili. I'm not in that third trimester yet though, where you feel really, really heavy. But yes, we'll keep you updated in terms of third trimester. Yeah, I've gained 2 kilos so far, and there's 4 months to go, but I know that a lot of the weight is gained in that third trimester, so that's probably when you're going to start to feel more heavy and that kind of thing. So we'll keep you updated, let you know. How do you keep pretty during pregnancy? I don't know if this person's trying to say that I'm still pretty, but if you are, thank you. I feel so confident now. Let me clarify that. At the start of pregnancy, I did not feel confident at all. At the start of pregnancy, first trimester, up till only recently, I didn't feel confident. I didn't feel pretty. I didn't feel comfortable in my body. Something clicked, something changed. And all of a sudden, I was like the most confident I've ever been and felt in myself in terms of how I look, my appearance. And there's something just so naturally gorgeous and beautiful about a pregnant woman. I know it might not feel like it for the pregnant woman, but the actual look, especially when you see a pregnant woman get glam or dress up or whatever, there is nothing more ethereal and there's nothing more stunning. I would say embracing the pregnancy is one thing. Don't let yourself go just because you're pregnant. If anything, you should focus more on your health, more on what you're eating, more on, you know, how active you're staying during pregnancy. And then in terms of like putting on makeup or wearing a nice outfit, that's something for me personally I will never let go of. I love putting on a bit of makeup every day. I love getting my hair blow dried. I love putting a nice outfit together, even if I'm just staying home all day. You will not catch me in a tracky set. Nah, it's just not me. I take pride in being put together, and I don't think that pregnancy should change that. I think that if anything, pregnancy should elevate that. And now that I'm having a child as well, I want my child, it doesn't matter if it's a boy or girl, but I want my child to know that they should also always be presentable and put together, not for anyone else, because like I'm saying, even if you're just home by yourself, but for yourself. I read a book when I was younger actually that I loved. It was called Honored Guest, and the moral of the story was you should always treat yourself as the honored guest. Don't wait for anyone else to treat you that way, and don't only put yourself together or only eat out of the nice plates or only have drinks out of the nice glasses when you have guests. No, you are the honored guest. So that mentality is something that I keep even during pregnancy. How did you know you were mentally ready for a little one? This is another hard hitter. I was not. No. Long story short, yeah, like I said, for the last few years, we've been married for almost 5 years now, and I was, you know, not ready for kids. There was a time where I didn't even want kids. A lot of people think and dream about what it's like to get married, what it's like to have a family, and la la la, and I never thought about any of that. I'm like thinking how I'm gonna make money and make ends meet and that kind of thing. So I don't know, marriage, kids, all of that was never on my mind. I've never been a kid person. Like I've never been one to say, oh my God, I love kids, because it's just not me. I did want to have kids with him. The fact that he was going to be the father, I was really sure about my decision because I knew that he was going to be their father. I knew that he was going to be a good dad. I knew that he was going to be a good parent. I knew that he was going to be a good husband. I knew that he was going to be the right support when it came to having kids. So that was a huge thing that made me feel comfortable to have kids at this stage. The second thing was that I had built enough of a career to say, okay, I can stop work for a little bit. I think if we hadn't traveled and if we hadn't built ourselves to a more comfortable financial position, I would not have been mentally ready. Comfortable in the fact that I'm going to be a mother, in the sense that I know I'm going to be a good mum. It's a bizarre feeling. I don't think you ever feel 1,000% mentally ready. But I am ready in terms of all the logical stuff, like, you know, being able to financially take care of this child. Am I emotionally stable enough to take care of this child? Do I feel prepared to have this child be in my care? Then you sort of think, do you want to have kids later in life, or do you want to have kids younger in life? I do feel happy that we're having kids now. I would much rather have them earlier than later. And you know, when I'm 35 and I want to get Botox done, but I can't because I'm pregnant, that's going to be difficult. Got to think about all the perks, you know? Are you going to use a pregnancy pillow? I bought a pregnancy pillow. I tried to use it a few nights. It's so uncomfortable. I don't know how people are sleeping with a pregnancy pillow. I just use Pat. He's my pregnancy pillow. What are some of your weird cravings? I got a lot of questions about that. What are your pregnancy cravings right now? What is the weirdest thing you've craved? I haven't really craved anything weird. Nothing sweet. I get really turned off of anything sugary, anything sweet at the moment. I was not a vinegar person before this, but now the love I have for balsamic vinegar is not normal. So random, because we never were having this pre-pregnancy. Pizza Hut. I don't know why. I'm obsessed with Pizza Hut at the moment. Are you struggling with hair loss during your pregnancy? Good question. I know a lot of people do struggle with issues to do with their hair. I don't think I've got hair loss at the moment, but I think that it's coming. I know that postpartum hair loss is a big thing. I am not concerned about anything to do with my looks. The line on the belly, some people get it, some people don't. Hair loss, pregnancy nose, swollen feet, gaining water weight or gaining weight in general. There are things that are completely normal during pregnancy. Your body changes, you know, the skin type changes. Your hormones are everywhere. It's only normal. Focused on having a happy, healthy baby, and after giving birth, whatever cosmetic procedures I need to do to fix it all up, I'll do it. You know, I don't care if I lose all my hair because I've had a kid, I'll get extensions. I don't care if I get fat because I had a kid. I will diet and exercise like no one has ever dieted and exercised before. I don't care if I get pregnancy nose and my nose is now fat for the rest of my life. I'll get a nose job. I don't care. I don't care. We fix, you know? I just care about having a happy, healthy baby. I care about my body feeling and functioning well. Like, people actually felt comfortable and confident enough to say this to me. It wasn't even posed as a question. There was a tone there that was more accusational and more of an assumption. That was all about, oh, you probably are not interested in having kids because you don't want to ruin your body. What are you talking about? Imagine someone struggling with infertility. They don't want to tell the world. So they say, no, not ready to have kids now. Or, yeah, no, not having no kids at the moment, no kids yet. And someone says to them, oh, probably because you don't want to ruin your body. You can't say that to people. Okay, my lights turned off. And that's how I know that I've spoken too much and it's time to go. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to go. Pregnancy Q&A. I didn't get through all the questions, but I spoke well and truly enough.